I'm Victor Margiotta, and this is the Community Show. I'd like to thank my guest, Fred Gillen, for coming on. I've known Fred for, almost my whole life because we grew up together in Verplank. So it is a community feel that we have. Went to school with his sister, was in church with his parents, and it's definitely a good community feeling. I was lucky to have Fred come on today. It was kind of short notice, and sometimes things don't work out, but today things are working out perfectly. So, Fred, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Vic. I'm glad things are working out because it's been such a cold, snowy winter. It's nice that something.
Yeah. Well, we got lucky today. They canceled the snowstorm for today. A couple of weeks ago, they canceled the 30-inch storm we were supposed to get. That was good. They canceled that one. But, it is winter. And, when we were kids, how about the snow we used to get? It used to be unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then they used to throw it in the river, but
that's right.
They don't do that anymore.
Yeah. And we used to have to walk to school uphill both ways, 5 miles
without any shoes.
Without any shoes.
Right. And now they cancel it on just if there's a flake or if there's even warnings of snow. But the insurance, everything is money today. Yeah. So that's probably. Now, when did you learn to play guitar? When were you inspired? When did you get into it?
I started out with the bass guitar when I was 15 and was playing in rock and roll bands and stuff, and started singing because I was in a band and we could never get a singer that could show up or would do it or whatever, so the guitar player and I said, well, I guess we have to sing. Mm-hmm. And I was very shy. I was like, I could never sing in public, but I did it. I wanted to play music so badly that I did it. Mm-hmm. And then I started playing guitar really seriously like in the mid-90s, I'd say, when I kind of wanted to go solo without a band because I could travel around in a small car and tour and work. So that's really, up till then, the guitar was something that I just played around with a little bit.
And now you took lessons or you?
No, I never took any lessons for any of it. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty much all self-taught. I sat with a lot of records and figured out what was going on the records, and have watched, followed different people and watched them.
Now you're a folk singer, but what were some of your influences? What got you into music? What did you like when you were young?
When I was a kid, like many people, the Beatles really got me going.
Yep.
My sister had some of the Beatle records and I listened to them. But I also was kind of a metalhead in high school. I got into Black Sabbath and Iron Maiden and that kind of stuff. And somewhere in there, I heard Bob Dylan, and that sort of got me into this songwriting thing. And I listened to punk. I listened to jazz. My dad really, if I was going to be a musician, my dad wanted me to be a jazz musician because that's his music. But I love jazz, but I'm really not interested in playing it. I like kind of more simpler stuff. But it was so much different. Growing up, when we grew up, too, there's so many different things flying around in the air. Like one minute Elton John was on, the next minute Miles Davis was on, the next minute you had Liberace with his white things and the piano with all the rhinestones, and, it was crazy. And when I was a kid, though, my mom took me down to the steamboat dock, and she read in the paper that the Clearwater was going to be there. This was early after they built the thing. And I remember going down there with my mom, and there were a bunch of other moms there. It was all moms. There weren't any dads then.
Right.
And this old guy was playing the banjo, and it was Pete Seeger. I didn't know. And, we sang some songs with him. And so I always kind of remembered that. And it popped up again later when I really got into first Delta blues and that kind of, all kinds of folk music from there.
Well, that's a perfect segue for the fact that you played with Pete.
Yeah, I did. I got to play with Pete more than my fair share and spend some really quality time with him. And when I met him, as an adult, he was probably 86 or 87. and he just passed away at 94. So it was that last period at the end of his life. I learned a lot just from, being there.
Well, it's funny because, I mean, in this day and age, we see musicians playing. Look at Paul McCartney just put out another album.
Yeah.
And it's like golf. I mean, as long as you feel good, you can keep doing it.
Yeah.
And
Paul McCartney's voice sounds great.
yeah, it's fine.
You know,
Speaking of voices, have you ever had problems with your voice?
I should knock on wood.
Yes.
I have never had problems really. I had this voice teacher who came to see me play a bunch of times. Who is she was like a pioneer with mixing speech pathology and voice teaching, and getting a degree as a speech pathologist and applying that. And she taught Bono, and she taught some pretty famous singers that really stretched their voice. And she saw me play in the New York City subways once for 3 hours. She sat there for the whole set. And we went to lunch afterwards, and I said, "So what did you say?" And she said, "Just don't mess with it.
Yeah.
Just keep doing what you're doing."
Cool.
She says, "As long as you feel good," and she says, "You sing in a relatively healthy way."
Right.
So I figure at some point, I think maybe I would sing so much that maybe I instinctively learned how to not do the real harmful stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm not playing in metal bands and trying to sing higher than I really can too. Yeah. Though I love that music still. So.
Yeah, I think once it's in you, especially for me, listening to that heavy metal or rock and roll, it's the best to work out to.
Yeah.
If I'm doing yard work or something, I love listening to that.
Yeah.
It gets me going.
Yeah. It's an antidepressant. That and chocolate.
Yeah. And now you have how many albums out?
I think I have, as a solo artist, 8 solo albums. Plus I did a record as a duo with this guy, Matt Turk, Gillen and Turk. Mm-hmm. And I have a group, Hope Machine, that made 2 records. And now I'm in a new band, a rock band, called Hot Rod Pacer. And we're just about finished with our debut.
Holy sugar.
So we're getting the cover art together.
How'd you get these guys together?
I'm co-writing the songs with this guy named Jim Keys, who lives down in Irvington, and actually 3 out of 4 of us are pretty local. The bass player lives in Cortland Manor, and Jim and I took a ride to North Carolina. We had known each other as musicians casually. We hadn't worked together much, and I have a recording studio. I record a lot of other people's records. And he knew I was kind of a geek about old equipment, vintage equipment. So his father was an engineer at the CBS Columbia Studios in New York City, like in the 60s, 70s, 80s. He recorded a lot of Miles Davis records and Frank Sinatra records. And he saved a lot of the old gear when they were getting rid of it and going over to newer stuff. He kind of rescued it. And he bought a lot of their old microphones for really cheap, probably. And he had all this equipment in storage in his basement, and he was tinkering with it. And then he retired, moved to North Carolina, and moved all the stuff down there, truckloads of stuff, with big old tape machines. And so his father, he passed away about 10 years ago, and it was finally time for Jim to go through this stuff and do something with it. And he called me up. He said, "Fred, I have a proposition for you. If you'll come and help me, then you can take some things for your studio." So that's what I did. I went down there and we spent 3 days crawling around with screw guns, taking apart sheet metal. And we were driving home in the van, and I had this little guitar with me and a notebook and a pen, and we co-wrote our first song together in the van. So since then, we've gotten together and written about a dozen songs, and put this really quirky kind of rock band. I tell people it sounds like FM radio in 1978. That's about what it sounds like. So, and it's good. We got Debbie Tusman from Cortland Manor playing bass, and my buddy Jake Hess, who used to live in Peekskill but lives in Connecticut now, playing drums. So it's a new it's a new old thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like going back to where I started. In a
Yeah.
way.
Well, I remember
So,
you had a band years ago.
Yeah.
We used to go and watch
Yeah.
you guys play. It was great.
yeah, I remember seeing you like at that little place in Verplank on 6th Street that's
Mhm.
now a deli.
Yeah.
The bar that used to be a bar.
Yeah.
I remember you being there. So, yeah.
Well, you can't beat live music. There's nothing like it. So, let's have you play a song.
All right.
Something new or old, or what are you going to play?
I will play something medium.
Okay.
Not new, not quite old.
Right.
This is a song called The Devil's Bluff.
Nice.
Sometimes the night literally calls out to me. Beautiful shadow women in bar neons glow. The tinkle of ice in glasses, different jewels in different boxes. All traps for my delicate fingers. We will shine. Hope that it's enough to make dreams from despair and call the devil's bluff. We will shine. I bang this old guitar and reach deep into temptation. Let it mingle with the smoke, turning grime to gold. Angels in hell, our halos dim in the blackness, pale but shining still. We will shine and hope that it's enough to make dreams from despair and call the devil's bluff. We will shine, shine. And to see light in the darkest corners may be crazy. It may be some form of second sight. Unexpected, unexplained, it has found us again. Never lost, but always wandering. We will shine. Hope that it's enough to make dreams from despair and call the devil's bluff. We will shine.
Awesome. Excellent. Thanks. That's terrific. Now, is that on one of your CDs?
That's on a CD I did called Coney Island, which was produced by a Peekskill guy named Koji Mabuchi, who also gave me this guitar as a birthday gift.
Nice.
This funky little guitar.
Yep, the Showdown.
The Showdown.
Now, where'd you get the inspiration for that song?
You know, I wrote the first draft when I was driving home. I'm going to just tell the real story because it's kind of one of those stories. I was playing at this bar in Pennsylvania, in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. It's about 2 hours from here. And I was doing it as a one-nighter. I was driving back, and there was this group of people that were eating dinner, and they were leaving as I played my first song. So I played the first song, and this woman called me up to the front of the stage like this. She was young, a lot younger than I was, and really pretty, actually. And she came up like this, and I came over to the edge of the stage, and she kind of came up to my ear, and she said, "That was brilliant." And then she kissed me. I mean, like really, like bam, kissed me. and then just walked out the door really fast. And this is the kind of stuff you can't make up. And then after she left, I went to start playing again. I was like, whoa. And I looked down, and there was a $20 bill on the floor.
Nice.
So I don't know if she kissed me, she wanted to give me a good tip and
Yeah.
just maybe not have me know, or I
Right.
don't know what, or if it was just all, she was feeling whatever she was, but, so I got in the car and I wrote a whole bunch of stuff in the car on the way home on the Route 80. And I went home, worked on it, I revised it, I made it into a song, but I had this memory of writing the whole thing in one shot, you know. But years later, I went back, I found that piece of paper with the first draft, and I had written pages and pages, and I only used about 2 lines from that in the song. So
So it's like brainstorming and then finding what makes sense out of it.
I think so. A lot of times for me it is. It's the first draft is just, I just don't revise, I don't think about it, I don't edit, I just write. Just get it all out, and then I go back and, I don't know, I have to sort this out,
Right.
you know, so.
Well, the basis of my show is the community show. I bring on people that do things in the community.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my biggest thing is I can't stand when people complain and don't do anything. You know, they're always saying, oh, the government and all this and all that. You know, do something about it. Get involved. Help the kids. Help, you know, do something. You know, join the fire department. You know, get involved. I know you do some stuff. What's some of the stuff you do for the community?
Well, I do a bunch of stuff. I mean, I do stuff with the community food pantry at St. Mary's.
Okay.
Out in Mohegan Lake, and also whenever I can, I go over there to make sandwiches for Midnight Run, which we do on one Saturday a month, and we make the bag lunches, and then people from Elizabeth Seton come pick them up. They bring them down. You know, different churches do stuff, and I also do. I was president of this nonprofit organization, Tribes Hill.
Talk about that.
Yeah, that's really like, it's really like a support system for artists who play this type of music. We meet once a month on a Monday night at somebody's house, and that person cooks the meal, and we just get in a circle and sing. We pass the songs around the circle, and we have a meal together. And that's really it.
Nice.
And then we also do things like put on concerts and sometimes benefit concerts for different organizations, and go to these big music festivals and conferences and things as well, and represent the artists from Hudson Valley.
You know, I think people would volunteer more if they were held by the hand and said, all right, this is, you know, this is how you... You know, because I think everybody does want to try and do something, you know.
I know one really good thing is that some of the schools now, they have the kids at a certain age in high school, they have to do community service a certain amount of hours. And I know we get kids at the food pantry at St. Mary's that they're fulfilling their hours. But I think that's great because it gives them the bug.
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
they find out.
It's a start.
And,
you know, I mean, even the president and, you know, but, you know, get people involved, you know. I mean, come on. This is, you know, people lived and died in wars to keep this country going. And it's almost like now they're just handing people stuff rather than making them work for it. And I think that's going to be a problem down the road. I don't think people should be handed stuff unless they really need it. And if you're handed something, you should pay it back. But, you know, now I'm the one saying, you know, people should do this. But, you know.
Well, you know, another thing is, like, unemployment is high right now. And if you're unemployed, you can only spend so much time working on getting a job. You know, you can only send out so many resumes. You need to step away from it, you know. And that's a good time to volunteer.
Sure.
And there's so many things. I mean, you got the community garden in Peekskill, if that calls to you. A friend of mine works at the community garden in Ossining. She lives down there. And you've got the Salvation Army and Fred's Pantry and all these different organizations that help people.
Yes,
you know?
There's definitely a website, volunteer. You know, you go go on a computer, look for a place to go, and volunteer. Now, who were some of the, you played with Pete Seeger, who are some of the other names that you've played with?
I just recently, very much like I ended up on the show today because you called, your other guests couldn't make it,
Yep.
and you called me. I got a call a couple months ago from the people at the Terrytown Music Hall to open for Merle Haggard, which was great. His band was great. He's got his son playing guitar in the band. And I brought my new partner, Jim, from Hot Rod Pacer, and the two of us did an acoustic duo gig to open for Merle. I also opened for Todd Rundgren, and he was doing his full-blown rock and roll thing, which was great. I just did a show with a benefit show at the Town Crier with Peter Yarrow from Peter, Paul and Mary, and he came up and sang this old civil rights song with us. Let's see, who else? Fred Eaglesmith, who isn't a big name, but in certain pockets he is. I opened for him. Tom Chapin, who's also local. Done a couple shows with him. So it's been really, and I've done a bunch of things for the Guthrie family. I played a Huntington's fundraiser for them.
Yeah, I saw that on your Facebook.
Yeah, because Woody Guthrie died of Huntington's disease, and his widow, Marjorie, set up the Huntington's Foundation, to try and find a cure. So that was a good one. That was at Irving Plaza in the city. It was a big event,
Nice.
So. But I think playing with Pete Seeger has been, for me, just one of the most, personally enriching things I've gotten to do as a musician.
Yeah.
You never know. You never know what the heck is going to happen. You just keep plugging away.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, something pops up like that. And I really, a guy like Pete Seeger, you're in the room with him for an hour and you're going to learn something. Because he's had like 400 lives, like he passed away at 94 and he could have been 700 with the life that he lived, so he was in the car that drove Dr. King from the March on Washington back to the hotel. He was with Springsteen at the last presidential inauguration, playing "This Land Is Your Land,"
Right.
And it was 10 degrees out.
Yeah.
Freezing.
I want to talk about this sticker. You got the Wage
Yeah.
Love.
Yep.
What's this all about?
Wage Love is I love stickers.
Uh-huh.
I have them plastered all over my guitar cases and my car and everything, like graffiti. I just love stickers, and because I'm a singer-songwriter, it's me, Fred Gillen Jr., and not a band name. I was wanting to make a sticker, and I thought, what am I going to put on my sticker? Like my name, big, So I thought, well, if I'm going to take up the space, what do I want to say? So I had all these long things from my lyrics. The face of love is a smile, and all these things. And then I heard somebody say, "Wage Love." I said, that's it.
Yeah.
So I don't really know who I stole it from, but I stole it from somebody, and it makes a good little, little soundbite.
You didn't have to pay for the right for that or anything like
Not
that.
so far.
No, nobody's. Well, the thing's all over the world, right? You said
there's I've gone through 9,000 of them.
Wow.
And now I actually have a patron that pays for them. I used to just pay for them myself, but I give them away free. So somebody stepped up and said, "I want to help you with this."
Yeah.
And so they're all over the world. Yeah, because I've toured myself in Germany and England and Ireland and all over the U.S. And then other people have taken them to the Middle East and the Far East and you name it. It's pretty amazing.
It is amazing.
People send me photos a lot. Hey, or I have photos where people are sitting on the throne at a club, and it's on the wall with the graffiti. It's like, hey, in Cleveland or someplace I've been, So it's cool. If I'm going to take up the space, I figured I'd take it up with the message that I could get behind.
Wage love, not war.
Yeah.
Let's try it. Um, One last thing, we got a few more minutes. I'd like to go out with a song, but just for the kids trying to get into this, you know, what advice would you have for them?
Well, for starters, with playing music, just do it, because even if you don't do it as a career, you can do it for the rest of your life, and it'll always be a great thing in your life. Playing music is amazing. If you'd like to do it as a career, the thing I would say is be very open-minded and creative about how you're going to work and how you're going to make a living at it.
Sure.
And if your career is anything like mine, it isn't going to look anything like you expected it to. I'm playing, this month I'm playing at a nursing home, I'm playing at a school, I'm playing at some coffee houses and some bars. You know, I play at places like the Terrytown Music Hall.
You're going to be playing at the Paradise in Verplank.
Hopefully play at the Paradise.
There we go. We'll have to
and
set up a date.
And then I get to eat.
Yeah.
And yeah, and so I do all these different things.
Cool.
You know, I produce other people. I play my own music. I play, you know, so it's and you can have a career.
Excellent.
You
All
know?
right, so let's play a song, and we'll go out with that. Just want to thank everybody for watching. Thanks, crew, for being here. And here's Fred Gillen Jr.
This is a brand new song.
Oh, nice.
I'm walking down that freedom highway, walking down that freedom highway, walking down that freedom highway, taking my time, taking my time. 'Cause if you run, they get suspicious. If you run, they'll shoot you down. You've gotta walk with your head held high, and you'll be freedom bound. I'm walking down that freedom highway. I'm walking down that freedom highway. I'm walking down that freedom highway, taking my time, taking my time. If you fight, then they will beat you. If you fight, then you may die. You've got to stand and speak the truth, and you'll be freedom bound. Feel free to sing along with your TV. I'm walking down that freedom highway. I'm walking down that freedom highway. I'm walking down that freedom highway, taking my time.